All right, boys. So as you can see right now, we are going to be using the human team versus the Chaos INDURA difficulty. Now again, this is a fun little team, especially if you don't have the collab characters. Again, this team is a little bit RNG, where you can have a little bit of mistakes sometimes, but it features Lancelot and Mazzino and also Mikasa backline. And again, this is going to be our gear set that we rocking: attack crit on Lancelot, HP defense on Anne, HP defense on Mazzino, and then Mikasa just got regular gear because she's supposed to never come out onto the field. And then this is going to be the artifact card we're going to be using, which is the 4-color one, which is really good for Lancelot. Again, this team you usually want to run the fairy team. And again, you want to make sure you're above 380k or at least going past 760k between two players, which means you either got to use CC food or HP food. So as you can see, my other guy is using fairies. Now you really want your ally to also be using fairies, because again, King, Cleanse, and Petrification is very useful when it comes to the fight. So you want to make sure that your ally has a King on the other side, just so you can deal with some of the phase. All right, this is Marilli from the future. So I know there's a lot of people who are wondering how to pretty much defeat the INDURA Chaos mode. So this is a cool Chaos guide that was provided for one of the members on the Force Discord, which is the beta leaks Discord, and they pretty much describe on what to do for each phase and what team to be rocking for both you and your ally, and what gear sets and stuff like that. So I'm gonna make sure I post this in the comments for you guys to pretty much look over for yourselves. Obviously, there are going to be some people who probably aren't going to still be able to do this Chaos difficulty, but at least you kind of get an idea on what you should be running and how to play against it, especially if you are a person who need the Super Awakening fragments. All right, so here we got recording pretty much of the human team, with also my ally using the fairy team to kind of help us out a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed using the human team. Obviously, the human team isn't as good as the fairy team, but if you're a person who obviously can't build the fairy team because you don't have the collab characters, try to use this team. Again, this team is really good. Again, you usually want to use like blue characters, which means hopefully you have Anne and you all have Mazzino, who are two good characters. Again, you want the more recent characters, so don't be coming in here like, yo, can I use blue brawler Bond? Like, you want recent characters when it comes to this game mode. All right. Oh, forgot my thing to set. Okay, so you want to use like more recent characters when it comes to this game mode. That's why, again, I'm using Anne and Mazzino, who are both new characters that was released this year. And this team is more so of a DPS team. Obviously, using the fairy team is a lot more beneficial, and there's a lot of reason why it's more beneficial, like especially for this one. As you know, because of Alpha's passive, she kind of prevents you from getting hit with the corrosive debuffs that you get on phase 1. But because of me not having Alpha, the human team will always have the corrosive debuffs on them for the rest of the INDURA fight. Now again, the whole objective of this one is pretty easy for phase 1. Pretty much every time you use, or each turn you use a petrification card with King, you get a gray buff, and that gray buff will allow you to rank up your hand, which is really, really nice. Again, usually you can clear this phase in like 3 turns, and like I said before, he gives you that corrosive debuff. Again, the corrosive debuff only happens because, again, we don't have the same effect as Alpha. Again, Alpha has the passive where pretty much she prevents the effect of the first 2 skills an enemy uses, which is the first one that he starts off with. Now again, Mazzino does protect you a little bit with his shield though, so you don't take too much damage. And also, every time you use the petrification, it allows you to not take damage from that counter card. So LR King is pretty much a must for this phase, or not this phase, this boss, which is why he is in the strong category, because most of his kits is centered around it. It's kind of interesting to see how the devs are now coming about with these new bosses and stuff like that, where pretty much they are making characters that probably you don't have or you wasn't thinking about using as strong ability characters, where pretty much if you don't have those characters, you're gonna have a harder time at playing against these bosses. So if you don't have LR King, obviously you're gonna have a struggle. Same thing will be seen with Thor in terms of the demonic or transcendent fourth floor, and then you have Deer with Jormungandr. Again, it doesn't make it almost impossible. Like if you do extreme mode, obviously you can use pretty much whatever on that mode. But if you want an easier time, especially against this boss, obviously use fairies, since they are made for it. And as you can see, my hand did rank up because again we had that petrification buff on us. Now this boss is now this one is a lot harder because again it relies on you getting petrification cards. Like I said before, because we're using the human team, we kind of risking our team getting blasted. So you want to try to get through this phase as quickly as possible. Now the whole objective of this one is that or gimmick is that he has these star buffs that he gets, and for each turn he gets that, I think, stack it up to 3 times, and that will boost his AoE damage. So every time he gets a star, that will boost his AoE damage. But there's a way to mitigate that to the lower effect, which is this first star, and that is using a petrification card. So let's say he has 2, but you put a petrification card on him, that will technically make it a tier 1, which means it'll be technically counted as a 1 star buff, even if you see 2. And that will allow you to be able to tank most of the damage that he will deal to you. So that's why I say you want to kind of rely on your ally in terms of getting cards. And again, for each turn he does lose those damage reduction stacks as well too, especially because this boss does have damage cap. And my ally is wasting his king card because he probably already has a petrification card in his hand that he's saving up. Again, on the first turn, you don't use your petrification card because you don't really need it, because the AoE damage isn't crazy. You usually want to use it on turn 2 and 3. Turn 2 and 3. Hopefully you get through it before it goes to turn 4, because if he goes to turn 4, you're most likely going to be dead. So turn 2 and 3, make sure you have a petrification card, or your ally has a petrification card, and you obviously get rid of the boss. So you can see right there, he puts a petrification card, and you're going to see a circle buff on him. Again, that will pretty much make it so his star buff that's going to be 2 will be actually a 1. I know it's kind of weird saying out loud that it's going to be a 1, but that's pretty much what it is. And you see right there, you got the buff now, and then again, this will make the star that he gets next turn, instead of being 2, which means boosted damage for his AoE, will be tier 2. It'll now be a tier 1. You just gotta think of it as in tiers, right? So this is tier 1, and then once he gets 2 stars, it's tier 2, and then he can go all the way up to 3, which would be tier 3. But because we're using the petrification card, which added up to this circle buff, will be a tier 1. I believe this is what affects it, because I know it lasts a couple of turns, or at least 1 turn. So you see he has 2 stars up there. Again, we did hit him with the petrification card, which is that buff right there, which means it is technically a 1. All right, but if we didn't have this, he would have deal a lot more damage on his AoE. So again, make sure you have a petrification card, and you'll pretty much be good. We also activated my Mizuno's passive, so we kind of avoided of our cards getting deranked. Like, this boss can also derank on those debuffs that you saw before. Let me go back to it so you guys can see the debuffs, because I know y'all probably didn't see it. Like, it's a lot going on. Like, you see these 2 debuffs. If he used that explodes, my whole team on my side cards will derank. So this silver would have turned into a bronze, but because of the invincibility that had activated, it kind of avoided his passive from activating. So yeah, that's why you see my cards didn't derank right there. I think the corrosive debuff happened before the explosion, and you saw his AoE didn't do that much damage, and that was because it became a tier 1 instead of a tier 2. Again, there's a lot to remember when it comes to this boss. Again, I'm using more so a fun team. Obviously, if you want an easier time, use freaking fairies, bro. You're gonna have a 100% easier time than what I'm doing right here. And this is where you want to kill on this turn. Like I said before, you don't want to go beyond turn 3 and 4 because that risks you dying. And again, on the phase 3, you want to make sure you have ultimates. Again, I'm gonna make sure I post the guide that people posted on Forest as well too, just so you guys can see it for yourselves. But again, this one is where he gets gray buffs, where pretty much he can get a defensive buff, an HP related buff, and he also gets a dodge buff. So on odd numbers of turns, he will get the dodge for melee, and for even number of turns, he will get a dodge buff for range attacks. But there's a way to get rid of it, and that is using your ultimates, which the boss can ult lock and ult seal and disable it multiple times. So you got to be very careful on which turn he's going to do that. Again, this really relies on you just going for more so cleanse cards. Again, if your ally gets a lot of cleanse cards, it's going to be very beneficial for you. All right. So this is where we want to just nuke on the first turn or deal high amounts of damage, just so you can chip the boss HP. Because again, you want to try to get through this as fast as possible. So that's what you see right now. I'm just blasting through them. But you also want to try to save your ultimates on the phase where you're going to get rid of dodge effects. Obviously, if you know what skills you have or going to use, you can kind of play off of that. Like if you have single targets, like my human team has mostly melee attacks. So if he goes onto the range one, I kind of don't have to waste an ultimate right there. And again, as long as we have cleanse cards, you're going to pretty much win. But because you can see right now with my Mazzino, I actually have a lot of damage because I ulted with him. So now my stats are going to be going crazy with Mazzino, which should be enough to kill right here. And Alpha is really good too. So we can go for my Mazzino cards because he's already super low. And then we go for a gold card. And this should be enough to kill. Usually I just try to save up a gold card for Mazzino, but I know sometimes it gets very hard to try to save up gold cards on this phase, because on phase 2, like I said before, he can derank cards if you get hit with that explosion. Oh yeah, and there's also one thing as well too, which is that if he falls below 5%, he gets an immunity buff. So you want to make sure you deal as much damage that you can at least get rid of this bar, this last bar. Because at like the half mark, that's where he gets that immunity buff, and then you basically can't do no damage to him. And he will heal a lot of HP back. So you can see right there, we got him on the last of the bar. A little bit of that bar got chipped away, but again, it's like half the bar where, I think like half the bar where you got to worry about him getting that immunity, or a little bit like under that half bar. So with Mazzino, he's gonna just finish him off. And he hit for 1.2 million. All right. Luckily, we had a gold card, so he was able to deal high amounts of damage. And we ulted, so our stats was already pretty beefy. And obviously, it probably would have been a lot better for my team if I had a attack set on Mazzino as well too. Right now, I had only a HP defense because I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm too lazy to build attack crits, especially for characters who only has one character. I don't like wasting your gear. But yeah, that is pretty much me using the human team against the chaos difficulty on INDURA. All right. Again, this is a fun team. You only get you only get 3 times where you're able to get or collect Super Awakening fragments. So keep that in mind. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe again. Hopefully this helps somebody else. And yeah, this is really guys. I'm out. Peace.